Hey there, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Finding Out More, a new series where we'll be asking questions very few ask and investigating some of the more secretive and disturbing findings we've made in our search for truth over the years. With the start of the YouTube channel, I thought this would be a good way to widen the audience while also spreading the word. So, with that said, it's time to ask our first question. What is the Tillinghast Institute? If you search for the Institute online, you won't find any information, and indeed the chances are that most of you will have never heard the name at all. Those who do know of the Institute either know next to nothing about it, or will never disclose what they know. So what do we actually know about this mysterious organization? What can we find out? And how does it tie into some of the deepest mysteries out there? Let's take a look. In 2009, a user by the name of Science for All 1305 appeared in an online forum claiming to be an employee of a secretive organization known as the Tillinghast Institute, and gave a fascinating account of some of the work taking place there. Much of what is currently known by outsiders is based on this post, and although the credibility of this user could never be definitively proven, they provided photos of ID badges, documents, and a number of other items that lean towards them being a credible source of information. The forum went offline sometime in 2012, but an archive of the thread was made, collated into what people call the Tillinghast files, and can be found on Reddit where it continues to capture the imagination. I highly recommend tracking this down and taking a look if you would like to read more on the topic. The Tillinghast Institute is supposedly a privately funded international scientific research organization founded in 1950, with the goal of researching bleeding-edge and speculative science that more mainstream institutions either can't or won't look into. Initially tasked with researching methods of gaining an upper hand during the Cold War, its goal later evolved into pushing the boundaries of scientific and technological advancement. As of 2009, the Institute is reported to have been investigating topics as wide-ranging as teleportation, astral projection, consciousness transfer, wormhole manipulation, and the nature of life in higher dimensions. In fact, the first successful teleportation experiment of a living being supposedly took place in a Vienna laboratory in 2004, although there is no publicly available evidence to back up this claim. What we can find evidence of, however, is their history of recruiting researchers and scientists who have made achievements in, or proposed theories on, topics involving speculative or bleeding-edge science. Once somebody is hired, they are instructed to remove all references to their workplace from social media, and sign a document swearing to never discuss where they work, what they are working on, or even when they were hired. This correlates with the fact that, of a number of scientists suspected of having joined Tillinghast, including the late Kara Daniels, their place of employment was removed from LinkedIn if their account wasn't removed entirely, and they completely disappeared from the scientific community. In the case of Kara Daniels, we can all but confirm she was recruited by the Institute after she graduated college, possibly for her theory on non-biological inhabitation. When I first reached out to Kara to talk about her thesis in 2018, I sent her my contact information so she could get back to me. The email I received a few days later came from an address with a domain I did not expect. kdaniels@tillinghast.institute. I admit I was shocked when I saw this, as this is the first case I've ever seen or heard of an employee essentially confirming their employment at this elusive organization. I can only imagine that this was a mistake on Kara's part. The domain from her email led me to the Institute website, which interestingly raises its own set of questions. On visiting the site, you are not greeted by the usual headers, welcome, and organization information you would expect from a normal business or institute. Instead, there is simply a logo on a white background, a contextless text box, and a button labeled Retrieve. There have been countless attempts to produce something from this mysterious form, but as of the recording of this video, all attempts have ended in failure. The website undoubtedly serves a purpose, and there is surely something in there to be found, but nobody outside the Institute is known to have had any success retrieving anything from its archive. One final piece of information that really caught my interest in the Tillinghast files was Science for All's claims that the Institute had all but confirmed the existence of consciousness in higher dimensions than the ones we physically perceive. He goes on to say that once we are detached from our physical form, usually through death, we may then exist in and perceive of these higher dimensions as we are no longer bound by our physical senses. If this is indeed true, could NDEs also be a view into one of these dimensions? Could the veil, door, or threshold that has been reported in NDE cases be a perception of something that does indeed exist? Science for All didn't provide details beyond the base claim, so we can only hypothesize. But it has stuck with me since I first read the files. Maybe there are already more answers out there than we are aware of, and perhaps they only exist in the hands of a privileged few. Thank you for watching, and if you have any information about the Tillinghast Institute or have any further insight into this mystery, please leave a comment below. Bye for now. I love you all, and as always, stay safe, stay informed, and spread the word. There are things we need to find out.